operations with functions. This is 10-6. So last year when I taught this, I made a foldable to teach it. So I attached the foldable in a PDF. You don't have to like fold it. You have to print it kind of like front to back and then flip the one page. It's kind of confusing. So you don't have to make it into a foldable. You could just print the 2 pages out separately. It's all the same thing. Okay, so we're learning about operations and functions. We're going to be adding functions, subtracting functions, and multiplying functions. Not dividing functions, that's a little bit more complex. You will go into that in Algebra 2. Okay, so starting with just some of like the rules, the notation of it. If you're adding functions, if you have something like f plus g of x, what you need to do is that is the same thing as f of x plus g of x. So you can kind of expand it out into f of x plus g of x. So really what's happening here is this x is distributing to both of these things here. This f minus g of x, this is the same thing as f of x minus g of x because this x is once again distributing to both of these things. And then with multiplying functions, f times g of x is the same thing as f of x times g of x because it's distributing to both of these things. That's just the notation. So now we're going to go into some practice problems. We're going to do 3 for addition, 3 for subtraction, and 3 for multiplication. So 9 examples altogether. So the first example, these 3 we're doing f plus g of x, so we're adding them. So if you want to add 2x minus 3 and 2x squared plus x plus 7, you simply just write everything next to each other. 2x minus 3 plus 2x squared plus x plus 7. Now we're going to combine like terms. So 2x squared doesn't combine with anything, so that's just 2x squared. We have a 2x and a positive x, so 1x, so that's going to make 3x, so plus 3x. And then we have a negative 3 and a positive 7, so that's going to make positive 4. So your final answer is 2x squared plus 3x plus 4. Next one, we have x squared plus 3 plus 2 to the x, so x squared plus 3 plus 2 to the x. There's nothing that you can do with that, so you're just going to leave it like that. You don't have to even change it, you don't have to move the word, that's fine. There's nothing you can do, so you just leave it like that. Next one, 3x cubed minus 6x plus x squared plus 8x minus 9. So with this one, 3x cubed doesn't combine with anything, so that's just going to stay as 3x cubed. Negative 6x and positive 8x makes positive 2x. Actually, we should really write the x squared term first, though. Let's write the x squared term first, so plus x squared because we're writing in descending order, standard form. Then we have negative 6x plus 8x is positive 2x. And then we have a minus 9. And that is it. I'm going to flip the board. Okay, so now we're subtracting functions on this side, and then on that side we'll go into multiplying. So with subtracting, the biggest thing you need to remember is that you need to put the g of x in parentheses. You need to put both of them in parentheses to make sure that the negative distributes, and I'll show you what I mean. So what we're going to do is we're going to put both things in parentheses, so 15x squared minus 8x plus 4. We're subtracting, so minus 11x plus 6. I want you to make sure you're putting it in parentheses because remember this minus is going to distribute, okay? So now you have 15x squared minus 8x plus 4 minus 11x minus 6. 15x squared, that's going to be our first term. Negative 8x minus 11x is negative 19x. And positive 4 minus 6 is negative 2. So this is your final answer. Okay, next, 2x minus 3 minus 5x minus 7. So you need to distribute that subtraction. So now we have 2x minus 3 minus 5x plus 7. 2x minus 5x is negative 3x. Negative 3 plus 7 is positive 4. So negative 3x plus 4. Now for our last one, we have 3x minus 8 minus 4x cubed minus x squared plus 4x minus 3. We're going to distribute that negative all the way through. So now we have 3x minus 8 minus 4x cubed plus x squared minus 4x plus 3. Now let's see what we can combine here. So negative 4x cubed, that's going to be our first term, and that doesn't combine with anything, so we have negative 4x cubed. We have our x squared term, which doesn't combine with anything, so we have plus x squared. Now we have 3x, and then we have a minus 4x, so that'll be negative x. 3x minus 4x is negative 1x, so negative x. And then we have negative 8 and positive 3. So negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. And that is your final answer. Okay, now we're moving over here. We're going to be multiplying our functions now. So I'm going to put these in parentheses. We're multiplying 9x plus 20 times x plus 5. So how do you multiply these? You multiply them with FOIL. So remember, FOIL is first. 9x times x is 9x squared. Outer 9x times 5 is positive 45x. Inner 20 times x is positive 20x. And last, 20 times 5 is positive 100. Now we can combine like terms. So 45x and 20x make 65x. So we have 9x squared plus 65x plus 100. And that's it. Okay, for this next one, we are multiplying the square root of x times 2x minus 1. So basically what you're doing is you're taking this radical x and you're distributing it to both of these terms. So what you have is you have 2x times radical x, right? 2x times radical x. And then you have radical x times negative 1 is minus radical x. Now, I'm actually okay with you keeping it like this. I'm not going to take points off if you keep it like this. But if you want to get fancy and simplify it a little bit more, which is a little bit higher level skill, but I think you can do it, I'll show you how you can do that. So how you can do that is you could say, well, the square root of x I know is x to the 1/2, so I'm going to change that to x to the 1/2. Okay, I'm going to keep this as radical x. How can I combine these? Well, if this is really x to the first power, but if I want a common denominator here so I can combine these exponents, I can say that this is 2x to the 2/2, because 2/2 is the same thing as 1. So now it looks like this. And then the last thing you could do is you can add your exponents. So 2/2 plus 1/2 is x to the 3/2. So 2x to the 3/2 minus radical x would be how you could simplify this a little bit further. However, I am okay with this answer as well. Either answer, I'm okay with. Okay, example 3. For this one, we have to do 3x squared plus 4 times 2 to the x. So what you're doing is you're kind of back distributing this 2 to the x to both terms. Moving up here, so now that's 3x squared times 2 to the x, and then plus 4 times 2 to the x. There's nothing I can do with this here, so I'm just going to leave it as 3x squared times 2 to the x. You can either put it in parentheses like this, or you could put a multiplication sign in between. It doesn't really matter. Now, with this part, you can simplify this more. You can actually, what you could do is you can make the 4 into a base of 2. We did this months ago. And if you want to make 4 with a base of 2, you could change the 4 to 2 squared. So then you can actually combine it with this 2 to the x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the 4 to 2 squared. So now I have 2 squared times 2 to the x. So I'm making a common base of 2. Now remember, since I have the same base, that means I can add my exponents. So now I have 3x squared times 2 to the x plus 2 to the 2 plus x is how you could write it, or 2 to the x plus 2, however you want to write it. So this would be your final answer. However, if you only get to, I would say, this step, I'm okay with that because we are in home instruction right now and I know it's a little complicated, so that's okay if you only get to that step. All right, so that's it. Have a good day.